Beaver County Radio's news source. 95.7 and 99.3 FM, along with 1230 WBVP, 1460 WMVA, and streaming at beavercountyradio.com. Here's Curtis Walsh.
Good morning. We can expect cloudy skies today with a high near 56 degrees, falling to around 49 by 5 p.m. We'll have a complete Beaver County radio weather forecast after this look at news. A new report says 2 economic impact studies gave misleading information to Pennsylvania policymakers and residents about the economic advantages of the petrochemical complex Shell Polymers Monaca. Danielle Smith has the details.
According to the findings from the Ohio River Valley Institute, the plastic plant hasn't brought the economic boom and promised jobs haven't materialized. Report co-author Nick Messenger explains the studies published by Robert Morris University were used to justify billions of dollars worth of tax incentives for the Shell project.
This analysis had really been done, honestly, using a lot of Shell's own assumptions. And this study really did that. It made some assumptions that were pretty questionable, and that's why they got a large overestimate in the economic impact.
He adds that as the plant approaches 1 year of operations, some of the long-term employment opportunities have not been sustainable. The report found that since the project was first announced in 2012, Beaver County has lost nearly 10% of its jobs and more than 3% of its business firms. Shell has not yet replied to a request for comment.
The B.F. Jones Memorial Library in Aliquippa is set to celebrate its 95th anniversary. Beaver County Radio News correspondent Sandy Giordano reports that the public is invited to attend an event at the library on Thursday, February 1st from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. There will be cake, refreshments, music, games, a photo booth, and gifts for those who attend. Following a 2-year process, Duquesne Light Company has selected the winning solution of its public crowdsourcing innovation challenge called Monitoring Electrical Cable Challenge, the Future of Underground Inspection. It was focused on creating a safer, more reliable underground electrical network in DLC's 2-county service territory in southwestern PA. The Smart Cable Guard system by DMV stood out among other submissions. The system is designed to be installed throughout the underground electrical grid, feeding real-time data into an analytics platform powered by AI. The company will receive live data that quickly locates cable faults, identifies current cable conditions, and predicts future issues before any work is performed. Duquesne Light is only the 3rd utility in North America to implement this innovative technology. Governor Josh Shapiro's administration says he plans next month to propose steps towards fixing a state higher education system that's among the worst in the nation in affordability. The administration didn't release many specifics and says the Democratic governor will give more details in his February 6th budget address. The administration says Shapiro will propose significant aid for state-owned universities, community colleges, and their students. It says the schools should be united under a governance system that improves coordination and limits competition and duplication. After that, Shapiro wants to cut tuition and fees to more than $1,000 per semester for lower-income Pennsylvania students at state-owned universities. Schools around the country are installing sensors and cameras to crack down on student vaping and handing out harsh punishments for those who are caught. Schools have invested millions of dollars in the surveillance technology, including federal COVID-19 emergency relief money meant to help schools through the pandemic. It can surprise students that schools even have such technology. E-cigarettes have inundated middle and high schools. The devices can dispense vapor containing higher concentrations of nicotine than tobacco cigarettes. Millions of minors report vaping despite efforts to limit sales to kids by raising the legal age to 21 and ban products preferred by teenagers.
Here's the Beaver County forecast on 95.7 and 99.3 FM, along with 1230 WBVP, 1460 WMVA, and streaming at beavercountyradio.com.
We can expect cloudy skies today with a high near 56 degrees, falling to 49 degrees by 5 p.m. It'll be mostly cloudy tonight, going down to a low of 40. Patchy fog tomorrow with otherwise cloudy skies and a high reaching 46. Rain and snow for Sunday with a high near 42. cloudy on Monday, reaching a high of 37, and a chance of rain and snow Tuesday with mostly cloudy skies and a high near 41 degrees. That's a look at the news for now. I'm Curtis Walsh on 99.3 FM and AM 1230 WBVP, also streaming live around the world at beavercountyradio.com.
Now, it's time to talk on Teleforum on Beaver County Radio. 1230 WBVP, 1460 WMBA, 99.3 FM, and beavercountyradio.com. And now, here is the host of the show, Eddie Crow.
AM 1230, FM 99.3. It is Teleforum. I am Eddie Crow. It's the second hour. Thanks to Frank Sparks for coming in the first hour. My second hour guest, I suspect, I don't know this, you can watch and see on Facebook. This is going to be live streamed. I suspect she's going to be A, more polite, and B, less yelly than Frank was. Unless you get wound up. Mary Lou is here. Mary Lou Harju from the United Way. And you come to visit once in a while. We get caught up on where the fundraising is and what's going on. And just to catch up, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you.
How's the fundraising going? Are we at the halfway point?
We're a little wee bit beyond the halfway point because our campaign ends at the end of May. So
we need to get to it.
We need to get to it.
All
yes.
Right. Explain for people that don't know. The United Way, it is a charity, but it is a charity that supports how many charities?
Well, we support directly 17 nonprofits, but indirectly through donors' designations, we support about a total of 75 nonprofits. The majority of them in Beaver County.
Good.
All of our member agencies are in Beaver County, but sometimes donors designate their donations to go to a charity that's outside of Beaver County.
And you're not going to not take.
Correct.
You're not going to not take
Yes.
their money.
Yes.
What are the budgets we're talking about? I know we've gone through this, but if we're past halfway, we have to start looking seriously at what needs to get done.
We do. So our goal for this campaign, which runs from June 1st to May 31st, so that's why we're almost a little over halfway. Our goal is $1.1 million.
Okay.
Now, last year, we raised $1,040,380.
Did last year surprise you that it was such a good number, especially coming off of 2 years of the world lockdown?
Well, it did for two reasons. One is because of that, and you just didn't know whether people truly had money or whether they were too focused on the aftermath of COVID to even think about giving.
Trying to get your own life back in order.
Exactly.
Right.
But the second reason was I was brand new, so I could say I didn't really know what I was doing. And
You replaced Mike Rubino.
I did.
I guarantee you Mike schooled you up on everything.
Oh, he absolutely
Was it an
did.
absorption thing over time for you?
Yes.
Okay.
And but you never know, because some people donate because they want to support the person running the organization as well as the organization. Some people donate because they believe in the organization. So, I didn't know, are all of the people who donate going to donate the same amount? Because they don't know me.
Right.
I haven't built up credibility with them yet. But everyone came through, and we actually exceeded our goal, which was wonderful. However, like any supervisor or leader, if you exceed your goal,
Guess what?
Yeah. They raise your goal.
Yeah.
So our goal is...
You overachieved, and they're calling you on it.
I know.
I never had that problem.
So $1.1 million. And we, as of yesterday, we are at $531,344.
So we're a little past halfway on time, and we're close to halfway. All right, so it could go either way. It's a close game at halftime. Okay.
It could. Now, some of the things, though, is, coming in, With United Way, historically, and a lot of your listeners can probably remember this, whether it was when they were working or when their parents were working, United Way used to be almost a mandatory paycheck deduction.
Yeah.
That your company, especially like the steel mills,
They were matching
the
it.
manufacturing,
Yeah.
right, they would match, but they pretty much told you have to donate something
This
to the
is
United
a good,
Way.
This is a good idea.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was the beginnings of the workplace campaigns. The workplace campaigns continued through, past, 2000. A lot of companies continue their workplace campaigns. But what happened with COVID, of course, people aren't going into the office. So there's no one to sort of rally the troops.
There was no workplace to have the campaign.
Exactly. Of course, nowadays, and rightly so, it's not mandatory for someone to give. So a lot of people have other places that they want to give to. So the workplace campaigns are going down, which means it's harder to meet our goal.
Were the workplace campaign the heavy chunk of the basket?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, a huge chunk, and still is.
Right.
And fortunately, I'm so grateful that so many of the companies in Beaver County continue to hold the campaigns, bring me in to talk so that their employees are up to date on what we're trying to do. Part of the issue, though, those people who are our age or older, we have a good understanding of what the United Way does because
Correct.
we grew up with it.
I did understand it is a charity, but it's a lot of other charities near me.
Right.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, people who are in their 20s, 30s, 40s don't know what the United Way is.
Tell people.
And that's why I'm really trying to reach those younger adults. So we've really beefed up our social media because, of course, they pay attention to that. We're out in the community more where parents and children might be to be showing, hey, this is the United Way. Here's some of the things that we do. And through the corporations, we're trying to reach the younger worker. But that takes a lot of time. But in order for any United Way across the country, across the world to be successful, those younger donors, we need to build those younger donors.
You need to school them up on what it is and get them involved. Mary Lou Harju is my guest, the Executive Director for the United Way. Let's play a game. I'm walking down the street and you walk up and you say, will you donate to the United Way? And I say, what is that?
The United Way is a fundraising organization, but it is also a human services organization. When I say we are a fundraising organization, we raise money to give it to nonprofits who are serving the population that is in need. So we have 17 member agencies, again, all located in Beaver County. And I brought my list today so that I didn't forget anyone.
I'm thinking, I hope she remembers all 17.
I know, because it's always so hard.
No, it's not.
Because I'm getting old.
No, it's not difficult. It's wonderful to have a list of 17 different places that they're getting recognized through the work of the United Way. I want everybody to know the tentacles isn't the right word. The threads that exist from the United Way to a lot of people that need those threads.
Right.
Okay.
And so we have Beaver County Association for the Blind, Beaver County Cancer and Heart Association, the Beaver County Rehabilitation Center, which people know better probably as BCRC, the YMCA, Big Brothers Big Sisters, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, Catholic Charities, Homemaker Home Health Aid Service, Life Steps, Lutheran Service Society, which does Meals on Wheels in our county, the Mental Health Association, Myasthenia Gravis Association, the ARC of Beaver County. The Cornerstone of Beaver County is our newest member agency.
Marie,
yes. the Salvation Army, and the Women's Center. So we really cover the gamut. We help organizations who are working with preschoolers. We help the organizations that are working with kids, the ones who are working with people with mental health diagnoses, homeless men, homeless women.
Is the homeless situation getting worse in Beaver County? I see the news, and everywhere else it's being presented as, it's getting much worse.
Eddie, Marie or Darlene from the shelters would be better to tell you that, but I can just say that it's not going away. It's not getting fixed visibly as it could be. The men's shelter that opened, I think it was in April or May of last year, by the Cornerstone, it has been full ever since they opened it. So on one hand, you could say, the homeless situation is terrible because, look, they're always full. But on the other hand, you can say, they're full because those men are being provided with the opportunity for a new lease on life. And and Cornerstone works with them to help them not be homeless anymore.
Right.
Just like the Women's Center. They work with women and children so that they're not homeless anymore, which may mean helping them find a job, helping them find new housing. But the wonderful thing that I see in Beaver County that I know is not always present in every community is the collaboration between even these 17 agencies plus a whole host of others who are not our member agencies, but they work together so well. And so I'll give you a good example, is the United Way received a call from a woman who was staying in a hotel in Beaver Falls because she was homeless. She had the opportunity to stay with her sister who lived in Etna for a couple of weeks. Okay, Allegheny County.
Oh, no, I know.
Right?
Yeah, that's not real close.
No. But she couldn't get there because she was on oxygen, so she had an oxygen tank, plus she had 2 dogs. So she couldn't, take all of that on a bus.
The logistics, and we don't think about that. The logistics of getting from one place to the other is a huge deal for her.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I called the Cornerstone, which is basically the place to start in Beaver County for any homeless needs. And I worked with Marie, and she called the woman. The woman had to call, and, again, people are still having to make multiple calls to get things to happen, but that's okay, because the Mental Health Association is the manager of a transportation program in Beaver County. So, and it doesn't matter whether you have a mental health diagnosis.
It's just something
something that they provide.
Okay.
So the woman called the Mental Health Association, told them about her transportation need. The Mental Health Association called the Cornerstone. Then the Cornerstone was able to provide transportation so that woman could get to her sister's house. Now, I don't know what happened after that, but I know that if that woman was wanting to come back to Beaver County, the Cornerstone would have been working with the Women's Center, with the Housing Authority, with other groups that do housing and homeless services to make sure that that woman was provided services. And so that's why I say, they all work together. Another situation, the Girl Scouts. Did you want to ask me a question?
No, you go ahead. Oh, I'm going to ask you more questions before we're done, but I'm making notes in my head. And at the same time, I'm thinking most people don't realize how good they got it.
That's right.
When you're given an example of somebody, all she needed to do, the one example, she needed to get from Beaver Falls to Etna.
Yes.
If you or I needed to get from Beaver Falls to Etna.
Get in our car.
Get in a car and drive.
Right.
And you're talking about the men's center. one of the most difficult things for somebody to get a job, and I'm sure you know this, if you don't have an address to give them when you apply,
Right.
that's necessary.
Exactly.
And when you mentioned Girl Scouts, I just started thinking about cookies.
Uh-huh.
So-
And they're for sale now.
Are they?
Yes. Yes, I already ordered mine.
What's your favorite?
I have to say Thin Mints.
Good call.
Yeah, but I do like the s'mores. I like those too, but Thin Mints always, and I put them in the freezer and pull them out one at a time.
All right, Mary Lou Harju is here. How cold does the milk have to be?
I mean, like cold milk.
It needs to be. I've got a crappy fridge. The further back stuff is, the colder it gets.
Uh-huh.
It's got to be in the back.
Okay.
But all right, we've known each other a little bit. I'm going to ask you a deeply personal question. It's got nothing to do with what we'll come back with after the news. When you get a box of Thin Mints, how many of them get gone? Is it by cookie, or I only ate one sleeve?
Oh, no, I do by cookie.
By cookie?
Yeah, well, I usually have two.
Okay.
I'll pull out two out of the freezer. So I just take the sleeve, I put it in the freezer door, open it, and then when I really have a craving for something, I can reach in and get two.
Now, have you ever, are you a regular milk, chocolate milk?
Oh, I like both.
Okay. Have you ever done Thin Mints with strawberry milk?
No.
Okay. We're going to go to news and share recipes during news. Mary Lou Harju of the I'm not kidding. It's more with Mary Lou after news on Teleforum.
Professional football conference championships are this weekend. It's a perfect time to head to Beaver Supermarket for all of your tailgate party needs. This week at Beaver Super, you could get Daly's fresh boneless seasoned chicken breast sold in a 5-pound bag for just $1.29 a pound, USDA choice sirloin tip roast or whole eye round roast cut for free for just $4.79 a pound. And finally, USDA all-natural boneless, skinless chicken thighs sold in a family pack for just $1.99 a pound. Follow Beaver Supermarket on Facebook for all of their grocery specials, open for your convenience at 7 a.m. daily, 7 days a week. And drive down to the only independently owned and operated grocery store in the Valley, located on 3rd Street, Beaver. And don't forget, Beaver Super also offers curbside service pickup. Hope to see you there.
When accidents and injuries happen, you need the experience and insight of the legal team at Luxembourg, Garbett, Kelly & George, a law firm of AV-rated attorneys and super lawyers. Luxembourg, Garbett, Kelly & George, helping you put your life back together. Attorney Joe George.
You worry about getting better. You worry about taking care of the medical side of things. We'll take care of all the legal side. I don't want you worrying about whether a letter needs to go out to an insurance company. You worry about getting to your doctor's appointments. You worry about getting your physical therapy appointments. You worry about getting better. If you have to have surgery, you worry about take you back and forth to the surgical center or the hospital. And all those things, I try to put my client at ease from the standpoint of, look, this is where things are going to go. You just worry about getting there on your side of things.
For your initial consultation, call the law firm of Luxembourg, Garbett, Kelly & George at 724-658-8535 or online at lgkg.com. Luxembourg, Garbett, Kelly & George, keeping promises for over 80 years.
Man, I loved playing high school sports growing up. And it's fun being a fan now, don't get me wrong, but sitting in the stands feels like I'm missing out on all the action, you know? I wanted to get back in the game, so I signed up to be a high school official. It takes me back to my playing days. I'm supporting students, and I get paid to make the big calls. Do you want to see the game up close? Sign up to become an official in Pennsylvania at highschoolofficials.com.
Let's face it, work is a large part of your life. Why not choose a job that allows the opportunity of a fulfilling career working with people who appreciate you? St. Barnabas Health System is looking for extraordinary, service-minded people to join our team. Earn and learn with career opportunities on our clinical, housekeeping, and food service teams. For more information and to apply, visit stbarnabashealthsystem.com or call 724-444-JOBS. Jobs that are apart from the ordinary. Find them at St. Barnabas Health System.
Beaver County Radio's news source, 95.7 and 99.3 FM, along with 1230 WBVP, 1460 WMBA, and streaming at beavercountyradio.com. Here's Curtis Walsh.
Good morning. We can expect cloudy skies today with a high near 56 degrees, falling to around 49 by 5 p.m. We'll have a complete Beaver County radio weather forecast after this look at news. Beaver County radio news correspondent Sandy Giordano is reporting new details in a shooting that took place in Aliquippa Thursday. Police were called to the 1200 block of Main Street just after 3 a.m. Thursday for a man shot in the head and an injured wife. Aliquippa police called in the state police to take over the investigation. They remained at the scene for several hours. The man was transported along with his wife to a Pittsburgh hospital. As of 8:30 a.m. Friday, there have been no updates on the incident. A new report says 2 economic impact studies gave misleading information to Pennsylvania policymakers and residents about the economic advantages of the petrochemical complex Shell Polymers Monaca. Danielle Smith has the details.
According to the findings from the Ohio River Valley Institute, the plastic plant hasn't brought the economic boom and promised jobs haven't materialized. Report co-author Nick Messenger explains the studies published by Robert Morris University were used to justify billions of dollars worth of tax incentives for the Shell project.
This analysis had really been done, honestly, using a lot of Shell's own assumptions. And this study really did that. It made some assumptions that were pretty questionable. And that's why they got a large overestimate in the economic impact.
He adds that as the plant approaches 1 year of operations, some of the long-term employment opportunities have not been sustainable. The report found that since the project was first announced in 2012, Beaver County has lost nearly 10% of its jobs and more than 3% of its business firms. Shell has not yet replied to a request for comment.
The B.F. Jones Memorial Library in Aliquippa is set to celebrate its 95th anniversary. Beaver County radio news correspondent Sandy Giordano reports that the public is invited to attend an event at the library on Thursday, February 1st from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. There will be cake, refreshments, music, games, a photo booth, and gifts for those who attend. Governor Josh Shapiro's administration says he plans next month to propose steps towards fixing a state higher education system that's among the worst in the nation in affordability. The administration didn't release many specifics and says the Democratic governor will give more details in his February 6th budget address. The administration says Shapiro will propose significant aid for state-owned universities, community colleges, and their students. It says the schools should be united under a governance system that improves coordination and limits competition and duplication. After that, Shapiro wants to cut tuition and fees to more than $1,000 per semester for lower-income Pennsylvania students at state-owned universities. With the filing season now open for the property tax and rent rebate program, the Pennsylvania Department of Revenue is encouraging Spanish-speaking applicants to apply online for a rebate in Spanish using MyPath, the department's online filing system. The Spanish online application available through MyPath is a new option that launched this year to make the rebate application process easier for Pennsylvania seniors and people with disabilities who speak Spanish. Schools around the country are installing sensors and cameras to crack down on student vaping and handing out harsh punishments for those who are caught. Schools have invested millions of dollars in the surveillance technology, including federal COVID-19 emergency relief money meant to help schools through the pandemic. It can surprise students that schools even have such technology. E-cigarettes have inundated middle and high schools. The devices can dispense vapor containing higher concentrations of nicotine than tobacco cigarettes. Millions of minors report vaping despite efforts to limit sales to kids by raising the legal age to 21 and ban products preferred by teenagers.
Here's the Beaver County forecast on 95.7 and 99.3 FM, along with 1230 WBVP, 1460 WMBA, and streaming at beavercountyradio.com.
We can expect cloudy skies today with a high near 56 degrees, falling to 49 degrees by 5 p.m. It'll be mostly cloudy tonight, going down to a low of 40. Patchy fog tomorrow with otherwise cloudy skies and a high reaching 46. Rain and snow for Sunday with a high near 42. Cloudy on Monday, reaching a high of 37. And a chance of rain and snow Tuesday with mostly cloudy skies and a high near 41 degrees. That's a look at the news for now. I'm Curtis Walsh on 99.3 FM and AM 1230 WBVP, also streaming live around the world at beavercountyradio.com.
You're listening to Beaver County Radio, coming to you live from the Fried Transportation Studios. Beaver County Radio and Fried Transportation, a winning team. 99.3 FM and WBVP, providing news, sports, and information for 76 years.
Talk about what's happening in Beaver County or around the world on Teleforum. 724-843-1888. 724-774-1888. It's Teleforum with Eddie Crow.
Time flies when you're having a wonderful conversation. The first half of the hour, it's Mary Lou Harju of the United Way. And it's always a wonderful conversation. By the end, we drifted off and we were talking about Girl Scout cookies. Now I got a sweet tooth, and the United Way has me hooked up with that because I didn't know. I'm looking at the picture in front of you. Hold the picture up for the people on camera. Yeah, buddy, that involves sweets. What's up?
It does. Well, one of the things I was talking about earlier is that we have to find new sources of revenue because the workplace campaigns are going down. So one of the things we're doing this year for the first time is an Easter candy fundraiser.
Cool.
And we're doing it with Rosalind Candy Castle. So, you have to support the local businesses as well. And they've been wonderful to us. And so we're doing an Easter candy fundraiser. The nice thing is that you can go online, and I'll give them the link.
Okay.
They can order it. Rosalind's will ship their candy wherever they want. So if they have grandkids that live in California, they can ship candy to California. They can ship it to themselves, or they can also go in and pick the candy up in the Candy Castle, which now actually looks like a castle. It's so cool.
Yeah, if you can pick it up, go get it just to check out what they've done. It's gorgeous.
Absolutely.
All right, what am I ordering?
Okay, so and they have, all of those filled Easter eggs that you just want to eat the whole thing. But
I do.
But they also have, all of the molded bunnies, crosses. They have a jet fighter plane.
Really?
Yep. They have the, little foil wrapped eggs, gummy bears, jelly beans.
The little foil. I want to talk about the little foil wrapped eggs. Here's the problem with them. In the Easter basket, they're so small, they filter
lost
down to the bottom.
Yeah.
Here's the good thing. You forget about that. You pull the Easter grass out. You go, I got 3 more pieces of candy.
Exactly.
Yeah,
it's just the gift that keeps on giving.
That's right.
Yeah. So in order to do it, they have to go to the website www.mycandyfundraiser.com/discount/UWBC. So
I'm going to retain none of that. Will you post that on your United Way website for people?
Yes,
it's up?
It is.
Okay.
Actually, they can go on our website, and it's one of the first sliders at the top of the page. And there's a little button that says Order Candy. But if they get there and there's no code, our fundraising code is UWBC.
All right.
So please participate in that. And that is going to help us raise money for what I want to talk about next, which is our ALICE Fund.
That is an acronym.
It is an acronym,
All right,
and it
break it down.
means Asset Limited, Income Constrained, Employed. So what that is...
I think you just described to me.
It's people who are working, and sometimes working 2 and 3 jobs, but still aren't making enough to afford the essentials. So,
the old term...
The working poor.
That's the old term. I found that term very insulting.
It is insulting. And so Alice is easy to remember. Alice is easy to wrap your head around. And Alice is just one step above the impoverished households. But the difference is Alice is working, is earning usually too much to qualify for assistance. So they end up not having health coverage. They don't get assistance with their utility bills necessarily. They may not always be able to buy groceries or clothing for their kids for school. They may not even be able to be at home when their kids get home from school because they're working 2 and 3 jobs.
Poor, but not poor enough.
Right. And
wow.
Yes. And so they're not able to afford the essentials, and they need help, and they often get overlooked for assistance. And I think a lot of people in those Alice households feel like they don't know where to go for help. Sometimes people who are in poverty, they understand, I can go to the county assistance office, I can go to the food bank, I can go to and get utility assistance. But the people who are working have been trying not to need assistance, but prices are rising. When I go to the grocery store, there's things that I put back on the shelf and think, I don't want to pay for that.
When you do that, I'm very curious, because part of what we're talking about is budgets. Mm-hmm. Okay, when you pick up something at the grocery, and now that's too much, do you get a lesser version of it, or does that just go off your list?
Both.
Depends on if it's Thin Mint cookies.
Right. Well, that's right.
Yeah.
No, there's no
you gotta stop somewhere.
Exactly.
Is that number growing? Are there more people?
Yes.
That are working 2-3 jobs and still not moving forward?
Yes. And the number is growing, and we've received census data from 2021. So it's a couple of years old, but you have to wait for all that data to be analyzed. In Beaver County, 38% of the households are Alice or impoverished. 38%.
4 out of 10.
Yes. Now, among the different neighborhoods in Beaver County, that number goes up and down.
All right.
It's alarming regardless, but Rochester is 73%.
I would have never, ever guessed that. Had you said who's the highest or what number do you think, this neighborhood or that neighborhood or this town, I would have never guessed that.
Right.
That is incredibly depressing and sad and appalling and unnecessary.
Well, absolutely. Aliquippa is 62%. Beaver Falls City is 65%. Even Patterson Township or Patterson Heights-Borough, 17%. So Alice hits every community.
We don't know that, do we?
No. Okay. And, we sit beside people on the football stands, the soccer stands, in church.
Yeah.
At work. And we don't know necessarily that they're struggling because they put on a brave face. They don't want to have to ask for help.
They're working 3 jobs.
Right.
Yeah. Is Ambridge on the list?
Yes. Ambridge is 54%.
So over half of my neighbors.
Yes. And so there are organizations, nonprofit organizations, in most of those areas that I talked about, but throughout the county, who are helping people who are Alice or people who are in poverty, and they are not on our 17-member agency list. So when I came to the United Way, having worked in nonprofits for 25 plus years, I knew there were a lot of agencies that weren't being funded by the United Way.
How are they being funded? They were just trying to go out and do it themselves and hope?
Some of them get grants.
Okay.
Some of them have individual donors. Sometimes the school districts help them out or companies help them out. But I realized that we also, as the United Way, need to help them. We need to try to get that 38% number lower. And unfortunately, between 2019 and 2021, it went up by 4%. So we don't want that trend to continue.
Do you expect it to continue? Because you said those numbers were from 2021. We were smacking 9 months into COVID after.
Right.
Okay.
I think they're going to go up again, but then hopefully the work we're doing today will impact maybe the 2025 numbers.
Okay.
2024. But all we can do is try. And so there are organizations like in Ambridge, the Center for Hope.
Yep.
They feed 1,000 unique individuals every month. 1,000. So a lot of those people coming through their food pantry or through their community meal are Alice or poverty.
One of the Baptist church right down the street from me has an open pantry.
Okay.
And, like the mini libraries.
Yes.
This is canned food. And,
Right.
and I've driven by it a million times, and I think, man, I wonder how many people take advantage of that.
Mm-hmm.
You just startled and sombered me up.
Yes. And there's one in Aliquippa, House of Prayer Lutheran Church, through an organization called Healing Hunger Beaver County, and they have the Little Free Food Truck. They have a meal they call Manna every Tuesday night, and I know they get anywhere 60 to 100 people at that
Tuesday.
meal every Tuesday. Plus, they have the food pantry. They actually now have been able to get coolers on the outside of the church and shelving. And people are, anytime that I've been at that church, there's people going up and getting food. So food insecurity is huge in Beaver County.
I had no idea the numbers were that startling.
The YMCA is starting a new program. I was just talking to the director the other day. He already has 250 people signed up for it, and it hasn't even started.
Wow, what's the program?
It's a food locker program.
Okay.
So, and he's trying to start it slowly because he doesn't have the capacity or the funding right now to do more. And that's what places like the Center for Hope, like the Healing Hunger Beaver County, many other organizations just don't have enough funding to do more. And if they did have funding, they could serve, Sue Otto at Center for Hope might be able to serve 1,500 people a month. So that's why I've started raising money for the Alice Fund. Out of that Alice Fund, the United Way is going to give mini grants to organizations who are not currently funded by the United Way. And in fact, today, applications are due in from nonprofit organizations who want to apply for a mini grant. We're going to be deciding in February who gets mini grants and how much those are going to be.
Are those numbers determined by people giving like we're talking about right now?
Well, we're going to have board members who will be in that group, but we're also going to have some people from the community who have given us pretty significant gifts towards the Alice Fund. Mm-hmm. And in fact, we had one anonymous donor give a $25,000 matching grant gift. So a matching grant means that you have this pot of money that you can pull money from as people in the community donate towards that.
I give you $1, you get to take $1 from that.
Exactly.
Yes.
So their donations double,
Right.
which is really cool. Now, that $25,000, so far we have raised $23,854.
Let's get it going.
I am $1,145 away from getting that full $25,000.
What's the deadline?
Well, there's really no deadline.
All right, let's get it done. Let's get it done. Let's get it off the sheet.
I'd love to have that done by the end of February, because that's when we're going to be giving out those grants. And I want to make sure that we have all of the money that we could have to be able to give those grants. We also have a $50,000 matching grant.
All right. That's why we got to get the 25 done so we can move on to the 50.
Well, the 50 is for corporate or organizational gifts. So I have organizations like Range Resources, Eaton, Lincoln Learning Solutions, who have already given me money towards that $50,000 matching grant. But I am $17,000 away from getting all of that $50,000. So If you're working in a company or you own a small business or you're part of an organization like the Elks, or it could be anything, please consider giving us a donation towards that matching grant because it's going to be doubled.
So 11,000 will get 25,000 and 17,000 will get 50,000.
1,100 will get me 25,000.
Yeah.
Yes.
If people are listening, they say, I want to contribute.
Mm-hmm.
What's the easiest way for them to contribute? And they get to choose, and you've told me this. If somebody gives you money, they can say, now I want this to go to this charity over here that you guys deal with.
Yes,
okay.
They certainly can do that.
Right.
Now, if they do that, it doesn't go towards the matching grant,
No,
though.
that's a different thing.
But
I
yes,
understand.
if they, let's say they normally give money to the Humane Society, they could give the money to us, which helps reach that $1.1 million goal.
Mm-hmm.
And then we send the donation to the Humane Society. Now,
so you get credit for it and the charity of your choice gets it.
Yes.
I got you.
Yes. Now, to be totally transparent, if they're not a member agency, which the Humane Society is not, we keep 10% as an administrative fee.
Oh, that's totally understandable.
Right, because, I mean, we're a two-person office. You know, if...
People don't realize that either.
No.
It's you and one other person chasing all of this.
Right. Right. Now, we do have two very part-time staff members who are huge help. But, yeah, it's two full-time people raising $1.1 million and sending out designations to 75 different organizations, holding these fundraisers, raising money for Alice. I mean, we work nonstop. But this Alice Fund, right now in the Alice Fund, I have $181,000, which is wonderful.
But
and the United Way also put in $50,000 because we felt like, you know what, we've got to pull together and come up with the money to be able to also walk the talk. Right? We're saying we need to help Alice. Then we need to help Alice. So we have $181,000 in it. I'd love to have $250,000.
I'd love to have more than that. The numbers of people
me too.
in Alice, that's astronomical, and that's heartbreaking to me.
Oh, it is. I mean, I'd love to be able to give out $50,000 grants. I'm probably going to be able to give out $1,000, $5,000, maybe one or two $10,000, depending on what the program is. But we also need to make it sustainable because Alice isn't going away.
It's not okay, we fixed that, now move on.
Right. We need to be able to do this every year, if not several times a year. Because any program that's trying to run a program, they're going to run out of money. Or it's going to be so popular that all of a sudden they thought they were getting 100 people. Now they have 300 people.
And every day costs money, and every person costs money.
That's right. So, again, I would just implore people to consider giving to Alice or giving to the United Way. The easiest way to do it, certainly, is to go on to our website, click on the donate button, and then you can choose
What's the website address?
It's www.unitedwaybeaver.org.
Okay.
Now, you can also, if you're on Facebook, there are web addresses on there, but you can also do it the old-fashioned way. You can write a check, put it in the mail. Our address is 3582 Broadhead Road, Suite 205, Monaca.
Yeah, I'm mailing in it because I ain't running the gauntlet that's Broadhead Road. I'll mail you a check.
Yeah. But, you can also stop in. We have people that stop in sometimes and say, I just wanted to bring some cash or I wanted to bring a check. Some organizations, when I said, please, donate, they can also do a fundraiser for us. Lincoln Learning did a fundraiser. Penn State Beaver did a fundraiser. And I know I'm forgetting, Styrapec does fundraisers. BASF does fundraisers. Any money Even the Easter candy fundraiser, somebody said to me, how much do you think you're going to raise? I said, I have no idea. The first time we did it, if we raise $200, that's $200 we have to help Alice. If we raise $2,000, all the better.
Yeah.
So
some is more than none.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You make me feel so much better about the human condition after I get to talk to you. You really, Mary Lou Harju from the United Way has been my guest this hour. What do you want to get out there that we hadn't got out there yet? We got about a minute and a half.
The next thing is for people to put on their calendars, August 4th, it's a Sunday, is our second purse bingo. Now, we raised about $14,000 last year. I want to raise $20,000 at least this year. And I mean, you know, Eddie, I love my purses.
I
right?
know. I'm stupefied. 14 grand?
Yeah.
For the okay.
And we only had about 100 women there.
Uh-huh.
A lot of people said we're bringing friends next year. This was so much fun. So I want 200 people there at least. I went to a purse bash on Sunday. There were 400 women there. And the more, we figure it is about $100 a person, like that
what it
you
ends,
raise.
yeah, what it ends up
Yes.
through the door.
So if I can get 200 people there, there's no reason why I shouldn't be able to raise $20,000. So put it on your calendar. It's at Monaca Turner's sometime around noon. I don't
So
remember
drinking's
the time.
involved too, is it?
Well, you can order your drinks.
Absolutely. Anything you need, you come, and if we can help you, we're going to help you.
Well, thank you.
All right. I'm craving Thin Mints from the early part of our
Me
conversation.
too. And milk.
And try Thin Mints with strawberry
I'm going
milk.
to have to, Eddie.
Trust me on this.
I'm going to have to try it.
Mary Lou Harju talking desserts and giving to the United Way. It's Teleforum on Beaver County Radio.
The Lenten season is just